Hello everybody, my name is Gorman and welcome to a different kind of video today. We're going to be looking at a game called Infinite Crisis. Now I've been forever sitting on the footage I've got of this game and I just haven't come out with a video for it basically. When I looked at doing first and last impressions for it, it seemed a bit redundant considering that with it being a MOBA, Infinite Crisis is a MOBA, for those of you who didn't know. For it being a MOBA, I didn't really see the point in having a first and last impressions. There's not really a last impression. It's always going to be changing. There's always going to be things added. There's always going to be tweaks made to the game. But I thought I'd draw up like a first impressions at least of what this game was all about, and what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and hopefully that'll give you some idea of what the whole experience can offer someone who is fresh to MOBAs. I've never played League of Legends or Dota. I think I played one game of Dota. I didn't pick it up again. And I haven't played League of Legends at all, so I've come into this basically with an unfettered attitude towards MOBAs. So it'll be interesting for those of you out there who, like me, have not experienced it, to hear my opinion about Infinite Crisis, to see whether it's worth you diving into the MOBA genre or not. Anyway, let's have a look at what its strengths were. I must admit, the list was a lot weaker, a lot shorter than I would have liked for its strengths. The first thing I got on my list here is DC, the DC license. The superhero genre in general was crying out to have a MOBA style game made for it. I mean, I'm glad it was DC just because I prefer the characters in DC, and it's not just because they're dark. I think they've got some of the best villains in comparison to Marvel. I think the DC's villains are much more complex and much more interesting, so I'm glad that DC were the ones who basically provided a license for the game developers to do this one. I'm sure Marvel won't be far behind though with a different one, but the range of characters that are available is pretty impressive. We haven't just got one Batman, we've got Nightmare Batman, Gaslight Batman, Nightmare Joker, Gaslight Catwoman, and these all do different things. Like Nightmare Batman compared to regular Batman, he's just can't take as many hits. The original Batman is much tougher, but the Nightmare Batman can really deal the damage. He really can deal the damage. So it's nice to know that they haven't just basically done the same character and then just given him a different skin. There are a lot of differences between it. Sticking with the superhero genre as a plus for the game is actually what made me stick with learning the game. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted to master my chosen hero, which was actually Batman. At first it was Wonder Woman, and I started to get really good with her, but I realised she had a lot of weaknesses, so I thought I'll try Batman. And then I started to really enjoy the game. Without that license, I doubt I would have stayed, for various reasons. There's obviously no tutorial. That just seems to be a thing nowadays. There aren't any tutorials in games. I've moaned about it in various videos, and this one is no different. There's no tutorial. It's the same with, I've heard people talk about Dota saying the reason it puts them off is because it's so it looks like it's unsurmountable, the amount you have to learn, and I can understand why people just drop it. I wanted to see that with this. They didn't provide one, but what you need to do is just stick with it. The hardest part about sticking with it is the fact that the people who play the game, the footage I've got is from closed beta. I don't know whether it's an open beta now. It probably is. The community in general, it's all well and good enjoying controlling your favourite DC character and getting really good at it, but when you start receiving abuse and you're brand new to the game and brand new to the genre, this is where the major issues come through for Infinite Crisis. It's the community. I mean, as a game, what does it offer? You know, the other MOBAs don't. Nothing. Or not a lot anyway, apart from the license. What could save Infinite Crisis is the community, and it lets itself down here, which is no surprise. I've not had any experience in MOBAs, so when I first started playing this, I was useless at the game. I was told on numerous occasions to just leave, uninstall the game, and never come back. Now, I know that the world of the internet is just full of cocks of the highest order, so I can ignore shit like that, but people who can't ignore it will think, well, what is the point of staying? This isn't even fun. I'm not even enjoying myself. And this is where it will fall down. We all know that the strength of Dota and League of Legends means that this is going to have to offer something more than those games to hold its audience. Gameplay wise, it doesn't. So what we need is a community that is understanding and want to help newcomers to the game. If that developed across the board, this would make it tempting prospect for any gamer into the MOBA that are into this genre, MOBA. Even people who are into Dota and League of Legends, if there was such a strong community, that could even tempt them to come back because of that great license. I mean, as a fresh-faced newcomer to the genre, it was easy for me to not even consider League of Legends and Dota. Like I say at the start, I've only played one game of Dota and never played League of Legends. So it made the whole experience of Infinite Crisis better for me because I wasn't comparing it to anything. You know, there are obviously, from what I hear, superior MOBAs out there, but I've never played them. So this was, for me, if I was the developer, I'd be going, those are the people we need to target, people like me, because I enjoyed it because of the fact that I'd never experienced anything better, inverted commas better. This is not, you know, I'm not saying that this game is perfect. I'm not even sure I'm saying it's great, but it certainly is good. And if given the time that other MOBAs have had to develop, I think it could be genuinely great. The combat, unfortunately, is very bog standard, but it's satisfying to go head to head with another hero or villain and know whether you should shit yourself or they should. And once I mastered Batman, I could see people, like, as I was coming towards them, running away. And like I say, it's quite a satisfying feeling. Obviously, when there's a group of them, you know, I'd wait for backup myself. But as you approach, I could see people like going, oh, he's killed loads of people, let's just run. So the combat basically is very standard to what you would expect from a MOBA. Tactically, it does offer something slightly different. It is obviously about capturing points, control points, which is obvious, it's what you'd expect. But there is a central capture point in the middle of the map, and it fires basically an orbital cannon. And this does mix things up a bit, not a great deal, but a bit. I've been on teams in the past, and we've been so far behind that it looks like, oh, there's no point doing that. But after capturing that one or two times, it does force the game back into, not back into your control, but certainly doesn't make it pointless. You're not just counting down the clock waiting for it to end. It helps you, it yanks you back into the game. We've been so far behind in past games and just come right back into the game. And to be honest with you, I was sceptical about this central capture point at first, but now I've played the game a lot, I can see its advantages. There are disadvantages as well, but I like the advantage of being able to haul yourself back into the game rather than just counting down the clock waiting for the next one. I think the most annoying part of the game is the control of the camera. I mean, I may be doing something wrong or being a little bit simple, but the camera is a terrible annoyance to control. This means that you often have to have attacks coming from behind or to the left, to the right of the camera, so you don't see where the attacks are coming from. And when you're in the middle of a fight, sometimes you'll accidentally scroll the camera a little bit, and all of a sudden you can't even see what's going on in the fight, and that's it, you're dead once that happens. It's impossible to have that and make it an enjoyable battle system when you can't see what the hell's going on, or if you get killed from something that you didn't even see. This did improve as I was playing. It felt better as I was playing the game. It felt better, but I must admit, I think it was me getting used to the shit camera work or camera angles, camera control, rather than it actually getting better or me getting used to what it was. I mean, I was just getting used to how shit it was rather than me going, oh, it's actually not that bad. It's alright. It's not that. It's just me getting used to it being shit. Overall, I think this could be an extremely fun game. I mean, I think it could be a really, really fun game, given time to develop. The problems that are there in terms of the game can be fixed with time. The actual gameplay itself, the problems there, it can be fixed over time. But this community, sadly, can only be put right by the people who are part of that community and not acting like complete dickholes. I mean, I know this is the internet and it's unlikely to happen this millennium, but if they didn't have that And I mean, I nearly quit a couple of times just thinking, oh, I don't want this. Forget it. I've got loads of games I can play, loads of games, and this is just people calling you a knob, you know, and you're not getting any better. But as you do start to get better, you know, the worst part about it is that attitude rubs off on you, because then you don't say, I've never said anything like bad to people, but you start thinking, for fuck's sake, how do you not know how to play? Something I would never normally do in a team game. But because I'd had that the whole time I was learning, it rubbed off on me and made me feel the same way. That's not a good thing. There are balance issues as well with the game. For fuck's sake, just listen to me, the developers of this game, please. Catwoman's special ability is just way overpowered, and it ruins the game. As soon as she comes near, there's always a game where someone picks Catwoman. It's actually shocking when someone doesn't pick Catwoman. I'd never played her because I just think it's overpowered and shit and boring for one. But when someone doesn't pick it, that character, it's a shock for everyone, and that should tell you a lot about the balance. That needs to be addressed, but again, that can be done with time. I know that the footage I have and the opinion I've drawn was from closed beta. Like I say, I'm not sure if it's gone into open beta yet, but I think, you know, will it outpunch? Okay, the big question is, for those people who have played MOBAs before, will it outpunch some of the other MOBAs around it? Probably not. But that does not mean, you know, you shouldn't check this out. I mean, being Batman in this kind of game was always going to be fairly cool. And to be fair, it is. It is pretty cool. This is just the first impressions. Obviously, things are going to change. Hopefully, they'll keep developing it. The business model is obviously you purchase your characters, you can purchase your costumes, stuff like that. It's bog standard, that's why I haven't talked about it. You all know the business models of these things. Does it work? Does it not work? It's a free-to-play game, so yeah, they've got to make money somehow. I think it works, but I'm not going to go into it because it's the same bloody boring business model that everyone uses, so for a free-to-play game. So, for me, I think you should try this out at least once. If you've never played MOBAs before, I think you should definitely try it out. And my tip to you is stick with it. It gets much more fun. It gets much better as you start to get better at the game. And this is where a tutorial could help out. If you went into it with a little bit more knowledge than you had to learn yourself within the game, within online matches, you wouldn't get as much abuse from people because you would actually be clued in a little bit. You go into it without being clued in, like I did, and then you get a lot of people being fannies, to be honest with you. The only thing is that I'd say is this is going to take time for it to get as good as the other MOBAs. It definitely needs time, but I think it's got a hell of a lot of potential, and it's kind of fun being Batman. Anyway guys, I think that's me ranting enough about this game. You can see some of the footage in the background as well, see what you think of the actual style of it. I like it, but hopefully you've liked what you've seen today. If you want to hear and see more from me, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. See you guys.
I just prefer the other one. Bullshit! How can it be bullshit to state a preference? Since when did